This was basically started with my own students in view. I myself, for those of you who do not know me, so most of you are my own students. I'm Ms. Tuva Rashid. I have been working in Islamic University and an assistant professor. So I have started this coaching institute to bring a new perspective of English literature in Kashmir. This was started for NetJara coaching career and initiative by me, and I am a net qualified, set qualified, board medalist in literature, and a published author. We come straight away to the discussion of literary theory crash course and what is going to be. Literary theory crash course will focus on perspective building. It will be a 4-month course in which we'll focus on major literary trends, which is we will not go and touch every other theory and not be able to complete any, but this will be a intensive study of a few literary trends that are important to be studied in BA level as well as for MA students and also for MPhil PhD students. These are basic theories which can help you build a greater and better perspective about literature, any literary text. In each of these theories, we'll focus on the critics that are known because of having put their efforts, having worked on a particular theory. Secondly, we'll also focus on the texts that they have added to the critical studies and the major texts that are important to be studied of a particular critic in a particular literary trend. Then the next question is, how will this learning literary theory help? How will this crash course help? It will help in critical application. That means any text can be picked up and a student can involve critically with a text on their own, and they don't need a guide, they don't need a mentor. Every time they pick a text up to critically engage with it. The next thing you will learn through literary theory crash course is that you will get a conceptual grasp of the theory. Once you have a full conceptual grasp of any theory, it means that you can use it and apply it on any text that comes your way. It doesn't only mean the text that you have in your syllabus, the books or fiction. It can involve non-fiction. It can involve any cultural text, which means from billboards to advertisements to TV serials to movies. Anything can be studied if you have a strong conceptual grasp of any literary theory. It will help in theoretical understanding, which I will make you understand with the help of an example. Though a lot of you, my students, know how all this is done. How is theoretical understanding applied on a text? But I'll help you in this demo session to understand it with this example. Say, for example, you have this image in front of you. The students over there in film studies might very well be aware of how is it that this image can be studied with various perspectives, and this is not just an image, but it's a loaded image. It's loaded with meaning, it's loaded with um, signifiers. There are many signifiers in it. Now, where is it? If asked, can you pinpoint a single piece in the image which makes you feel that it's loaded? Do you think just these 2 fingers there on his forehead is loaded because it has a bullet in it? No, it's not just the hand which denotes a pistol. Now, this denotes word that I use and emphasize comes itself from a theory. Denotation and connotation, this comes from structuralism. Who gave these concepts? Who worked on it, and where was it first used? is something that will be done in detail when we begin literary theory course. Then next is that, is everything in his eyes? Is everything in the wrinkles you see on his forehead, or the clothes that he's wearing, the tattered clothes? Then where is the meaning? The meaning is in everything, each and everything. The expression he makes of his mouth, the expression of his face, his eyes, his forehead, what he's doing with his hand, his tattered clothes, the print on his clothes, even that is a signifier. Then his being bald on the head and having a beard on the face is also a signifier. Then more than that, um, would any of my students like to add? I'm missing out something for you to touch upon. There is something more in the image. Would anybody like to add to that? Or should I go forward? Okay. So there are two things in the same image. One is on the left hand side, one is on the right hand side. He has a noose around his neck and there is a pistol on his forehead. Now that's like a conclusive story of a Kashmiri. A conclusive story of a Kashmiri is that he lives in a situation where he is between um, um, where he is not able to make choices. आगे कुआं पीछे खाए. He has to face death in whichever condition he is, either at the hands of a pistol, either because of a pistol or because of a noose. He is always bound in situations like that. Now, how does that perspective building happen? How is it that you can take a text and break it down into so many different analyses? This is what literary theory does. This is uh, what literary theory gives to you. The next image that follows, this is stop working. Yeah. So this image is the next one. Focus on the image. This is part of a song. The song Aona in itself is also something that can be studied, taken as a text, and then many perspectives can be given to it. Many aspects can be added to it. Now look at this one. This one here. Um, the image also has many perspectives. Um, though this is not part of the literary theory we study, the angles in which this is shot, the long and short angles that are taken for the, the placement of the camera, which is below the face of uh, the character who is the focus. This will not be the focus of our literary crash course because this is part of film studies. But there is still something that must be understood. The use of snow, the use of snow on his body, then the skull in his hand, the blood on his face. Again, that can have many perspectives. The cold in the background. Stop annotating. The cold in the background is also something that you see can be given meaning. A lot can be understood out of it. Apart from that, moving forward, I'll tell you how perspective building is done. So similar images are taken as text, and how does literary theory help in that? What I was talking about is perspectives. It generates perspectives. It helps in the generation of aspects, which means there may not be these angles that will come to you on the first reading of a text. Say you read uh, first page of a book of a fiction, there may not be many aspects that will be revealed. How is that done? How what can help you in developing those aspects? Say the same image that was given to you. How is it that these aspects could be built in the image that I showed you? It was because of a grasp of literary theory that it helps in building different aspects of a similar, of the same piece of art, same text. Second thing that perspectives helps doing is that literary theory helps in developing these perspectives, and perspectives helps in developing aspects, in developing, in unfolding different dimensions which you may not be aware of. If you go back to the picture that I showed you before this one, this one here, the building would, what aspect building would do, or what dimensions will help you do, is that it's not just you sitting in front of the screen watching this image, but it should be you in place of this character watching the skull, and you should also be in place of the skull watching this character. Not just that, you should be there where you are, an external observer. And then you should also be in place of the trees, watching everything happen. So you have to have all these dimensions. What helps you do that? Theory helps you give that perspective. Theory helps you unfold these dimensions of a text. It helps you also to critically engage into text. I'll give you a few more examples. A few more images will be shared with you. And in here, in these images, you will also see how does all this happen. This perspective, move these points down, and see how these three things will develop. So we take this scene from the same movie. Really, I have to pick some text which you all must be familiar with. So let's pick the scene up, this grave digging scene in Hamlet, and this has been adapted into a song, Auna for Hyder. So this adaptation of a scene, a minor scene, which is a comic plot, into a song is something that is done in Indian film, Indian cinema. In Indian cinema, dance and song are a significant element of filmmaking. So this grave digging scene, let's pick this up. There are a few images that I have picked up. This one, observe this is the same image that I showed to you previously, but the placement of camera was different, the angle was different. In that image, you saw, in film studies, we say that if the camera is placed like that and placed down below on the floor, and the placement of a camera like that gives power to the character. The character has the power there. So we saw that this character Haider has some power in that situation where he is trying to um, come face to face to his death, having a skull in his hand. But that was a different aspect. Now we have another aspect here in this image. The camera is straight. The camera is watching this character, watching the skull, and a person behind him, a small child, is watching this person, watching a skull, and you are watching all of this. Does that develop a perspective? What perspective is it? I'll give you hints. The hint here is that uh, I'll come to the hint later. There's another image from the same grave digging scene or Auna song. This image is where these three Kashmiri men are digging. So how does that help? Does that give you any perspective? Is there something more than just grave digging in it? Is there something more? There is a lot more. One, it's not just that these three men are standing in three different graves. a lot more than that. I'll give you hints for that as well. Now, the third image that I want to share with you is again from the same scene. Now, here you have scattered graves, which means there are dead bodies inside, and there are scattered dead bodies, which means a few more graves will be there very soon. Now, hints. What helps you develop the perspective? In the first image, go back to the first image, focus. Where should your focus be? Your focus should be on the child. What is this child doing? What character does he play? Does he have a role? He does have a role, but only in that song. Oh, why was this important for a story like Hyder? Why was this not important for a story like Hamlet? This character, this small child, is not there in Hamlet in the grave digging scene, but he is there in Hyder. This child represents the childhood of a Kashmiri who see youth watching their deaths in their face, in the face of it. So this child sees his future of becoming a young man who has to deal with death, right? What gave me that perspective? Some theory, a psychological perspective gave me that idea. So I am trying as a reader to sit in the psyche of the child, to sit in the psyche of this young man, to sit in the psyche of, no, I cannot sit in the psyche of this girl, but yes, the situation, this, I would as a reader be in the psyche of the director. Why did he place a child there? So you have to place yourself likewise in a text. You have to play each part that different characters are playing. And you have to analyze them beyond what is being said. A lot is unsaid, and you have to be there too, which is not being said. Then the eyes of each are yours, which means you are the eyes of the child, of this young man called Hyder, and you are also there in the skull. Skull represents death, denotes death. This also can be followed from structuralism, theory of structuralism or theory of psychoanalysis. Now, the second image we have here, the hint is action. What are they doing? They are grave digging. If you go to the song on YouTube and listen to this song, Auna, what they're doing is that they are breaking the snow. And that breaking can be studied as a theory called deconstruction. Deconstructive theory wants you to deconstruct every constructed structures. The meaning that is given to you about Kashmir, its politics, its people. These gravediggers want you to deconstruct that idea. The action gives significance, gives perspective to it. So it's deconstructive aspect that you can try and derive more meaning out of the text that is in front of you. Also, breaking the ice means somebody is for the first time vocalizing Kashmiri issue, right? So breaking the snow can also be studied as breaking the ice. This is studied in structuralism. How does snow replace ice and how can meaning be generated in it? This has something we have also done in creative writing. Some of my students. Then the third image, we've got a few minutes left in this meeting. We'll continue the meeting. Let's finish this part. The third image, the hint is the use of colors. Now, how does use of colors give you more perspective into it? Because you see there is white in snow and black. All these characters are wearing black. Black also represents death. And white snow, which is also cold, also represents death. Then is there life in it? There's one man standing, the rest of them are dead. And apart from that, there is something more to it. There is another color in it. There is another color of the epitaphs. The epitaphs are Gray. Now, what does epitaphs represent? Epitaphs represents that unsaid story. Though this man is dead, this is the remains that he has left behind. So, though many Kashmiris are dead, there are remains that can be studied. You can reach back to their stories. What made them lose their lives? So, the colors give you a perspective. What perspective is it? That not everything is black and white, there is a gray zone always. So let's go back to the Kashmir story and find out what that gray zone is. This is called structural analysis because we are trying to break the binary. So this is basically post-structural ideas. Structuralism follows these binaries and post-structuralism deconstructs these binaries. So black and white binary, man and woman binary, man and God binaries are broken down in post-structuralism, and we get to know more perspective. So this is why I said perspective building. So if you go back to, it will take a lot of time to go back there. Next is what are we going to do in this course? We are going to do a few theories, six in number. Structuralism will be done. The writers will do in it is Saussure, Jacobson, Noam Chomsky, Levi-Strauss, Roland Barthes. Marxism, Marx, Brecht, Lukács, Gramsci, Althusser, Terry Eagleton. And feminism will do Wollstonecraft, Woolf, Valina Woolf, Showalter, Guer, Kristeva, Sisu. We will focus on post-structuralism also. We'll go into the deeper idea of post-structuralism concepts, and then Derrida, Lacan, Sisu. Now, Lacan is actually a psychoanalyst who followed post-structuralism and applied in neuropsychology. He becomes a post-structuralist psychoanalyst. Similarly, Sisu is a feminist who applied post-structural ideas onto feminism. She becomes a post-structuralist feminist. So then psychoanalysis, we'll do the concepts, we'll do Freud, Lacan, Jung, and in cultural studies, we'll do Foucault, Williams, and Baudrillard. Coming back, how will this help you? This will help you in building perspectives, building aspects, unfolding new dimensions of a text, and engaging with the text critically in a new way. This will be an online help for you, which will give you a fresh experience of what literature is. And that's the end only of the PPT. I was planning to um, go a step further and give you a lecture on structuralism, but this meeting is going to end in just a while. Do you have questions so far? There is just Mayruk, who is not a student. There are many other students who haven't joined, but I have recorded this lecture and this will be circulated to all of you. Mayruk, do you have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Hello.
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Yes, Walaikum Salam. I can hear you.
Actually, I'm a student of literature. I'm in my second sem in GDC Pulwama,
Mm-hmm.
Government Degree College, Women Pulwama.
Okay.
I just joined this course because I'm in, like Varia is my friend, and she just had kept the story in her Instagram, so I just joined this. I just wanted to learn because I just want to be like I want to learn something different. In our college, there's not so much interest in this stuff, like so serious. Uh, until
Okay.
now, I don't have any questions, so I wanted to join this course because I want literature to take literature seriously. That's why,
How did
and
you find the
it
PPT?
seems so. Yeah, it was fine, and it seems very interesting, and I